we did have a little bit of a delay because I myself was caught on a couple of writing gigs, and I know Kristy's been exceptionally busy as well. So we are finishing this up.
Yes, we're gonna finish it. We're doing it.
I'm gonna hit you with this log line for the Eye of the World. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
For 20 years, Moiraine has dreamed and worked towards this moment, but she can't stop the Dragon Reborn from seeing the appeal of the dark.
Oh, okay.
That's the log line.
All right.
Now you would think by that log line this would be her episode.
Or Rand's episode.
Does it feel that way? Or I don't want to say feel, does it seem that way?
It does not. Seem that way visually, and it doesn't read that way at all.
So and I agree, and this is the issue. Too many plots coming together at the same time. It just muddies the water. I know they're really trying to make this Rand's episode because he is the Dragon Reborn, but we come into the intro, I don't know, it was like 3,000 years ago or something. Yep. Okay. And we start out the episode in a completely foreign language that we haven't really heard before.
Yeah.
With characters that we've never met.
Right.
So we're already kind of missing the 8 ball here.
Yeah. Yeah. So beginning with this opening, or cold open, if you want to call it the cold open. It takes place in a time called the Age of Legends, which clearly is the past, yet it's futuristic.
Right. So they had some flying vehicles going on.
They did. Yep. They were extremely technologically advanced.
There's a little bit of the Jetsons flair.
Oh, sure. For sure. Yeah, totally. And we're, I think kind of the goal, or possibly the thought process with doing this cold open, was that there was going to be this sense of a wraparound, because in that cold open, they are discussing and talking about the dragon that you do see in that scene, going to with his army to basically kind of, face down the Dark One and seal his prison. Right. Unfortunately, we really there throughout kind of the season, there was, again, my favorite way to say it is some missed opportunity to set that up, to understand that this is where we're at in this place of, now that we're going to the Eye of the World, 2,000-3,000 years ago, this was part of, the Dark One's prison. That, it probably felt very confusing, or like, why are we here? What's going on?
It's like, it seems like a different show at first. Yeah. Like, okay, what is this? The other issue is these are 2 characters we've never met, and it is an entire dump of exposition in a mythological language that we've never heard. So you're just essentially feel lost. And I had to watch it twice to really understand what was going on, because you're reading subtext and you're trying, okay, he's the Dragon Reborn. Okay, they used to be together as a unit, and then they essentially separated. Okay, I get all that. And even through all of that exposition, you're still kind of like, what there's still some pieces missing.
Right.
And it is just one of those issues. If this is how we're starting off the episode, but it's supposed to be the Dragon Reborn's episode, right? So they're putting the focus on the past life version of Rand, but we don't know who that guy is.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? We've been following Rand the entire episode, and you can have other characters refer to him in his former life's name. We're not getting that connection with Rand.
Yeah, it didn't translate very well. And unfortunately, even in that opening sequence, they do reference him as the Dragon Reborn. However, he's actually not reborn. He is the first dragon.
Okay.
And so again, that kind of gets lost with an error of understanding this was the setup for now these future lives this was the original guy.
That's a really good catch. And really at the end of that scene, she calls him the Dragon Reborn, and he calls him the Amerlin Seat, which is essentially hitting the audience in the face of, hey, this is who these two characters are.
Right.
And it's not subtle.
Yeah.
I would have preferred to see this as a vision with Rand seeing himself in that character instead of a different actor playing the role, because at least then we have a little bit of connection.
Yeah,
right? Because we've been following Rand.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a very good point, and very creative, because I hadn't even really thought about that. But now that I think about that and I put that in my mind, that probably would have maybe made it very much more understandable to the audience that, oh, this is like a past life thing for him.
Right.
And they would have made that association.
So I know you and I have been talking about this, and I've been saying, man, they're really setting this thing up. I'm really excited about this final battle. We're going to have the Dragon Reborn taking on the Dark One, right?
Sure.
And what is it? It's a conversation.
Yeah.
It's a conversation between the two. And I have to be honest with you, I was concerned that this was going to happen. I was like, in the bottom of my heart, I was like, please don't let this just be a philosophical ending. But that's where we went. I don't know. Is this congruent with how the book ending was?
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It is location wise, in terms of the name of the location, they are, yes, in the end of the book, they are at the Eye of the World. They're at Tarwin's Gap. But it's a whole different scenario, this kind of showdown between Rand and this Forsaken, who we in the audience for the show has been led to believe is the Dark One. However, in the book, it's clearly established he is not. He's just one of his minion kind of guys, which they call the Forsaken. Yeah.
I don't think they clarify that in this show.
They didn't. No. So you think
that's really interesting,
right? You think they're having this big showdown, essentially, and it's not. And so the whole group is there at the Eye of the World, and there's a big kind of confrontation.
You've got that. You've got some Voldemort action going on here.
You know, honestly, that's kind of really a good way to kind of do it.
I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, and for it to be, like you said, more of a kind of like, we're going to have this philosophical, almost kind of spiritual battle with him and him kind of making this decision about whatever. But really, ultimately, I feel that because of what I know that happens in the book,
you
know, this was supposed to be Rand's big moment. This was supposed to be his big moment of channeling for the first time, channeling very powerfully for the first time,
right?
And you know, realizing that this is much bigger than he even expected or would think, and grasping and coming to grips with being the dragon. And I feel like that moment, then that opportunity was lost, because we did just have more of a back and forth kind of spiritual thing happening there.
All right. I'm going to ask you, this is a serious question. Okay. You think about all of these episodes that you and I have watched together. Who is your favorite villain?
I can't. Okay. I will tell you my favorite villain is, I don't know.
Okay. I'll give you, no, this just proves that we don't set this up, everybody. All right. My favorite villain is the gentleman who was the leader of the White Cloaks.
Okay. Yeah. So Valda.
Yeah. My favorite villain, right? He's charismatic. He's driven. He believes what he's doing is right. And he has plenty of character development. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's fascinating, right?
Right.
Now, do you have a favorite villain in the show? I have a point. Don't worry. I'm going somewhere.
Now that I think about it, it's probably Padan Fain. So we do get to see him in this last episode. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again.
Yeah.
And he's developed. We've had a few episodes with him.
Sure. I mean, we saw him. Yeah.
There's the big twist in the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. If our favorite villains on the show are the mini bosses, they're not the main antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge issue. right? My favorite villain should be the main antagonist that I am afraid that my heroes are going to get destroyed from.
Yeah, we're missing a Darth Vader. Honestly,
yes,
we're missing
that is
the
a
Voldemort,
big issue here. So when we have the nightmare sequence or the vision of Rand seeing Moiraine get knifed in the back, which is it's a great moment, and then we have the reveal of the Dark One, and he has the demon phase, right? And he shoots him with the arrow. Awesome. Rand is being an active hero. Love it. And then he pushes the arrow in his eye, which is fine. It's a visual thing. And then the mask disappears, right? And then it's just some dude that I've never met before.
Right.
I have no connection to this guy.
Yep.
I'm not afraid of him. He hasn't earned my respect as a character yet because I don't know who he is. And then he's like, hey, let's have a chat. I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Because we've set up this terrifying guy, right? The entire season to have the reveal that it's just a dude.
It's just a guy. Yeah.
And he's not even terrifying. He's just maybe subtly manipulative, but he's not like Valda. He's not burning people alive. We don't know anything about this guy. All we know is that he's the died version of Freddy Krueger. He shows up in your dreams and he might be a little scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, it like we have an issue there. So like you said, we don't have a Darth Vader. And I think that is a big concern about why this show isn't hitting the way it could be hitting.
Right. Because at the end of the day, you are on a character journey, but there's internal and external conflict. Obviously, we associate the major external conflict with that antagonist, with that villain.
Right.
And when that is missing, we don't really know what journey we're on if we can't have that, you know, that setup and that association.
No, we need to have that. Absolutely right. We have to have a strong antagonist. And we had one up until mid-season until they got rid of the White Cloaks, and then it was gone. And there was a gap there, right?
Yeah.
And that gap was not filled.
Right. It goes back to show, don't tell for me. Because you can speak of the Dark One, and there's plenty of mention of it throughout the season. You can speak of it, but we've said this before, again, on this show, for us, you know, we need to see that. We need to understand that. That needs to be shown.
Yeah.
That there's a huge consequence. There's a huge, you know, antagonist out there that is scary.
Right.
And when we don't really get to
that is doing scary things.
Yeah, exactly.
That is really making us worry about our central characters. I mean, Kristy, I can tell you the stove is hot all day long. Right. Well, you got to touch that stove. Well, you know, nothing's happening here. So
yeah, exactly.
So I believe that the showrunners and the writers understood that this is really slowed down since we're finishing out the central arc in a conversation. So they kind of developed this Helm's Deep like situation where they have the main casters out in the front with the swarm coming in.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, that is a good way to up the pace and give us the visual battle that they have been trying to sell us the entire time. So instead of paying it off in the A plot, they're going to try and pay it off in the B or the C plot. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. That's good. But it's not as satisfying as it could be because it's not the A plot.
Right. Yeah. And this is where it really comes into question about the magic system of the world. And,
okay. Walk me through it.
Where there's kind of throughout the season, there's been this lack of really setting those rules and those guidelines. And here's the foundational elements of what they consider their magic system. You know, these 4 or 5 women going out who are not trained, have never been trained in the tower. So they don't know how to control their channeling. They really don't. They've never even channeled this amount of power, any of them in their life.
Right.
And, you know, the Dark One's army kind of approaching with all the Trollocs and everything. Hordes and hordes and hordes of Aes Sedai couldn't even hold those Trollocs back in that way.
Right.
But there's a suspension of disbelief that I think they were trying to establish. And, when the rules of the magic system have not been so believable and really kind of set, that we have an understanding of how that process works. It was very easy to just throw these kind of characters out there and say, okay, they're going to channel, kill all these Trollocs. And then one of them is going to heal another one and bring somebody back to life. And then you go, okay, so then what's significant about this magic system to where if you can just heal people, why not just send everybody out there and channel and kill all the dark people and then bring people back to life?
Let's unpack this.
Yeah.
I love this passion. So when you think about this episode and you think about character-wise, what arc really kind of spoke to you emotionally
in this episode?
Yes.
Probably Nynaeve or
okay.
Egwene.
Yes. No, I agree with you. It's Nynaeve's arc, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's a supporting character. That's a problem. If the entire show is based on the Dragon Reborn, and on the final episode, a supporting character has the best arc, has the most memorable arc, we have a problem. Right. We have an issue with the central character story not being told in the way it could have elicited more of an emotional response.
Right.
The reason why Nynaeve's arc works is that beautiful moment where she sacrifices her life for Egwene by taking in all of that energy. And it was visually supported because the fibers coming off of Nynaeve were wider and brighter than the rest of the groups, which I thought visually, subtextually, beautifully done, guys.
Right.
So we already know Nynaeve is probably the reason why Min could do what she was doing. And the other girls were kind of like the backup batteries. So, So Nynaeve is saving Egwene's life. And it is a beautiful moment. And she passes on the knowledge of the wisdom to Nynaeve. And then she dies. And I got to tell you guys, it was beautiful. I wish she didn't come back. It was that good of an arc. I wish she stayed dead.
Well, and you would think that because we have been on this journey and there has been this feel of like she has completed this objective for her ultimate goal is her people, her Two Rivers people. They are like her children, but they've all, it's her responsibility. She's the wisdom. So for her, she will do anything to protect these kids, this group of people. And so, when you do have that moment where she's kind of sacrificing herself, that was her whole purpose.
It was beautiful,
goal, right?
It was.
So you
beautiful.
feel like she should be done, like what she should be done.
Yeah.
You would, the psychology of the audience feels like this character.
This is it.
I know this is it.
The arc is complete. It's not like I don't want the actor to have work. I think she did a beautiful job.
Oh, sure.
And I think bringing her into another season is great. But I'm looking at character wise, we were done. We had the emotional peak. And when Egwene brings her back, you totally lose any of that emotional content that you had built up in that arc. So I think
diminishing.
I totally agree. It was diminished. Now, I think we could have had something like that with Rand's arc, but since the choice was made to run the entire season of who is the Dragon Reborn, he wasn't able to be given that long arc over that season to get an emotional climax like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So then you look at it and you go, okay, we find out it's Rand, but that wasn't really earned, right? I don't feel like that reveal was earned. So in this final episode, when there's an expectation for us, it's like, okay, Rand needs to have his big showdown moment. Well, he's not going to, because it never was set up to be that way.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And there is in structure something called the reward, which is a power, a tool, a weapon, something that is gifted to the hero. This appears a little bit after the midpoint sacrifice, the midpoint death and return. The hero earns a reward. And this is physically some kind of a talisman that it's out of the blue, but it's a talisman that has the power of all of the male channelers.
Yeah, so you're talking about when she gives him the Sangreal.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So my issue is that that's totally out of blue. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've seen it anywhere else in the episode, in the season, mentioned on display ever. So when it's not set up like that earlier on, we're kind of like, what the hell is this? You know, you
and
feel
why is
like,
it important?
And why isn't, but why are they, but you know, so it didn't feel earned. And that was the issue. It's like, here's your get out of jail free card. So that comes in, but that's a longer issue of the overall arc. That's why it wasn't feeling earned.
Yeah. And again, it ties back into the magic system. It ties back into the essential elements of, particularly in fantasy, where, you know, those foundations of world building and for a magic system, you know, that's part of those elements. And so for it to just kind of come out of nowhere and then, oh, you can use this, and if you can channel, you can do 100 times more powerful than whatever. Well, if he used that should have blasted everybody within like a 500-mile radius for how strong he is.
Listen,
but we didn't get that because we didn't know we could.
If I'm giving a dude a lightsaber, I'm showing you what that lightsaber is.
Right.
Very opening scene early on, and then we're going to let him discover what the lightsaber is, and then eventually he's going to get that lightsaber. But it'll be earned, right? It's not like, you know, it falls out of Obi-Wan's pocket and he goes, oh yeah, here you go, kid. Flip that switch when it's time. Don't look down the barrel. So
down the barrel and turn it on.
So I think that, but we do get to the moment of sacrifice, right? So we talked about in the midpoint, he doesn't have a choice when that death scene is going to happen, and then at the end of the season there is another plot point, which is the characters is the resurrection and the return is what we call it. But it's where they the central character willingly sacrifices himself or something about himself, and in this case he sacrifices a future relationship with Egwene and a daughter, but we have no emotional connection to it.
No,
we don't care about it. So again, that sacrifice, it just doesn't land. I mean, he's sacrificing a baby that he's never had, didn't know anything about, you know, and a version of Egwene that doesn't exist. So that sacrifice is emotionally not hitting. If you had to yes, it feels shallow. So again, it's just not landing emotionally the way that it could have had he been sacrificing like himself completely. Or, you know, if you want to get dark with it, you know, he sacrifices like the real Egwene. That would be crazy.
Something along those lines.
So I mean, it's really, it's something else. And then we have the ending where the Dark One smiles as he's being killed, and it's kind of paradoxical of he's dead but he's freed even though he should be dead. So that whole part is, I think they're trying to work around the fact that he's the Dark One instead of, like you said in the books, it's a different character.
So he's a Forsaken, and you know, it's kind of ultimately it's a trap and a trick to lead them there so that they do break the seal. So that they can get free, or he can't get free. And again, just kind of lost in translation with that aspect. It's tough.
I'm just like there.
And then we haven't even talked about Parrot. Like we haven't even talked about,
where's my wolf brother at, man?
Right? Dude, or Lan. Where's he at the whole episode? Right?
well, how about the ogre?
And that too.
You know, I feel like he got done dirty.
Yes. Getting stabbed with that dagger would if he was stabbed with it and died, which we clearly saw, he'd be dead. We don't see that resurrection, but it's unfortunately, spoiler, has been confirmed that he's not dead. He's coming back. He's in season 2.
And I don't mean this rudely. I could have taken that character out of this season and lost nothing.
Essentially, yes. You really could have. I mean, the kind of the trajectory that they took it in. He wasn't as crucial as he is in the novel,
right?
In the book. So maybe his loss to the general audience again isn't as poignant. And there's not that loss of like, oh my gosh, he's so cool, he's dead. But what's really interesting is even for Perrin, I don't feel that there was any really like conclusion for him either. I don't think he reached a point to where, I'm kind of rooting for his character or not.
He's in that room with the merchant who's stealing the horn, and then like three. I'm so sorry, 3 shrouded.
But you can call them fades.
Thank you so much. Three fades, and I'm like, all right, this is it. This is it. Start howling, baby. Bring it out.
Bring it out.
Here we go.
Fight. Yeah.
Right? Nothing.
I
was like, oh my God.
Such a huge opportunity.
Yeah, I know. I was like, even if they had just flashed his eyes and we didn't even see the fight because they ran out of budget or something, I'd have been like, all right, good. He got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're setting up something. We see that, right?
No, yeah, his character arc was quite sidelined. Yeah, there really wasn't anything there. It was him learning how to speak up, and I've never seen Perrin to not be a dude to do the right thing anyway. So
sure, for sure.
I mean, I guess that happens when you accidentally kill your wife. You try and do some better stuff. If you're
I mean, they're leading it towards like he's found the way of the leaf and he's going to be this pacifist and doesn't believe in violence and that kind of thing. And so the whole the dichotomy they're trying to set up is like he's conflicted between that and becoming a wolf brother. That road that he's supposed to take.
I'm not saying it.
This scene didn't lend to that. You're not saying it. I see your face.
He's as a actor wise, he's a big dude.
He is. Yeah.
You know. So if you're trying to sell to me that he's the way of the leaf and he's towering over the other actors. And the guy's like part werewolf. I'm like, I'm not seeing it, man.
I don't know. This guy's gonna lose it one day.
This guy's he's gonna get hungry. Start throwing him some bones.
We wanted it in that scene. It should have happened in that moment.
Exactly. All right. So, is there anything else before we finish up this wrap here of this final episode?
It's as a book fan, I will admit that this first season was tough for me. But if you just kind of sit back and just watch it for the show that it is, it had some missed opportunities, had some flaws. Hopefully those are things that they can address and kind of come back through into season 2.
Are we doing a season review right now? Because we were going to do a season review.
Oh, you want to do season review? Okay, then I will. I won't.
We can do it right now if you just want to bang it out in 5 minutes.
Sure.
All right. We're not doing the extra season episode. We're just Kristy's there, so we're just going to finish it up here. All right.
Hopefully we can, in season 2, they can kind of flesh out some of those aspects with some of these characters, but do I feel like it was the strongest kind of opening season for a show like this? Not particularly.
All right, I'm bumping in here.
You bump in.
I'm bumping in. All right, so
I got thoughts, but I gotta organize them.
Yeah. Season 1. If you enjoy fantasy, if you love spectacle, if you love, flashy special effects, if you like Lord of the Rings, but if you're not a story expert like Kristy or I, you'll enjoy this show. You'll sit down, you'll watch it. There'll be parts of it that you're like, well, I don't dig that. And there will be other parts of you go, okay, that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
and there is nothing wrong with that. There is entertainment factor in this show. Mm-hmm. It's just that it didn't hit the level it could have.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. If you are a book fan, I probably already know how you feel, so don't need to cover that. So don't need to review, don't need to kind of go over those aspects. If you're a non-book fan, like you said, if you're a non-book fan and you're kind of just coming into the show new and you like kind of adventure fantasy stories, then this is probably something that Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like the greatest thing, but you probably like had some enjoyment moments and might have been curious as each episode went on to see kind of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But you're right. Could it have hit a higher level and really knocked it out of the park? Sure.
I think this show hit its peak mid-season. I would say like episodes 3 to 5 to me were like, yes.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Episode 4 to me is one of the strongest ones in the whole season.
I think because you've got the best villains, you've got all the characters are going exactly where they should be going. All the arcs are there, the plot points are there, the emotional content is there. So I think this show, mid-season, awesome. Slow build up before mid-season, slow end of the season. And I think that's what you have. So if, like I said, if you're just the casual Amazon Prime watcher, you're watching it, you're going to be digging this show by mid-season.
Yeah, by mid-season, for sure. You'll have a lot more investment into kind of really going on the journey and figuring out, kind of wanting to find out what happens next.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Kristy, thank you for doing this with me.
Yes. This was awesome to do a series, like a show. It's been so great.
This was fun, and we'll have to find something else.
We'll have to find, whether it's I don't know, and another show, a movie, who knows?
And as they say in the Wheel of Time, may the force be with you.
And with that, this episode is sponsored by.
Well, it's sponsored by the Script Summit Screenplay Contest, where you can have a chance to win $1,000 cash or even get represented by a Hollywood talent manager. All right. Thank you so much, Kristy.